winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Padraig Harrington.
My father was a policeman, and in the early 70s he built a golf course with another 11 policemen. They got together, built their own course, and I just hung out there as a kid. That was my playground. As they were physically built, I mean, they physically built this course, so that's where I hung out. I actually helped build it. I helped clear stones, I helped level greens as a toddler. Everybody rode in with the effort, so it was just somewhere to hang out. I looked for golf balls, I chased rabbits. It was where I grew up. Played a lot of sport when I was a kid. My father was a top-class Gaelic footballer, so I assumed I was going to be a Gaelic footballer. It's an Irish sport. I played hurling, I played soccer. I get killed for saying soccer at home. I played football. I played a little bit of basketball. I played every sport that I could get hold of. Whatever they give me a chance of playing, I played. As I said, I thought I was going to be a Gaelic footballer. I captained my school team. Played my last game in Croke Park, which is where the home of football in Ireland, so yeah, that was kind of special. Scored a couple of points as well, so yeah, I had a nice sporting life, but I had more success in golf, so golf became my number one sport. No, I was much more of a player than somebody who watched. I was always playing. As I said, I was playing for so many teams. I was always out there, and if I wasn't, I was out with my brothers or friends just playing, kicking balls. So yeah, you know, in golfing wise, Bernard Langer would be somebody I would look up to. But later in my career, when I knew more about golf, you know, he's the professional's professional. He got the most out of his game, so I would definitely look up to him. Other sports, I was a goalkeeper, so you know, there was a few goalkeepers like Pat Jennings, Packy Bonner, people like that at home. Again, goalkeeper. You know, a lot of golfers were goalkeepers, individual, and also, you know, if you're a goalkeeper, you're more likely to give up because it's a miserable place to play, and you have to be I won't say you have to be a miserable person, but you got to be slightly mad to be a goalkeeper. So you if you went around to the golfers and you found out what sports they played, what position, you find a lot of goalkeepers. You know what? I'm sure I did things wrong, but I don't regret learning all the way through and the experiences. Would I change anything? I said yesterday I was doing something with, I work with these guys, I Promise, vitamins for my eyes. And I probably would wear sunglasses at an earlier age just to protect my eyes, because you're out there all the time. So yeah, I'd tell a teenager, learn to wear them. You know, you get used to it, they're a great benefit. I know you weren't expecting that one. As regards, you know, I think my personality, I'd be a pretty serious guy, but you know, I certainly feel like I've enjoyed what I've done, and that's for sure. So I wouldn't be turning around and saying, take it more seriously, and I wouldn't be turning around and saying, I believe I've enjoyed my career and what I've done, so I wouldn't be saying, oh, you know, I am who I am. I've made mistakes, but those mistakes have made me who I am. Well, lots of good golf courses. If I was here in the States, Riviera is a great tournament venue for the tour. You can't beat Augusta, to be honest. It really is good. TPC Sawgrass is very exciting. So there's some of the better ones on tour. Back home in Ireland, you know, my favourites, some great links golf courses at home. We've got Royal Portrush, we've got Portmarnock, we've got Ballybunion. They're great to play. Probably for a day out though, I would probably choose Adare Manor now. Adare Manor is it's in fantastic condition. The golf course is very challenging. It's a great test for me. I think the whole facility, everything that goes with it, and you know, I'm a little bit older. I enjoy the luxury in life now, so I enjoy everything goes with it. So you know, you go to a links golf course, you're going out there for a day's golf, you're going to get beaten up. Going to Adare Manor is certainly something you can enjoy and have a much more fun day out there. It really is the whole package. I've got to say, at each stage I've had some great memories. So, when I turned pro and won my first, I played 3 Walker Cups, so that was good as an amateur. I won some home internationals. I never lost a singles match in the home internationals over 6 years playing for Ireland. That was a big deal. I won some championships. But when I turned pro, my first win is very special, Madrid Open. Winning the World Cup with Paul McGinley in '97 was a big deal for me and for Paul and for Ireland. Clearly going on making the Ryder Cup in '99. But the highlight is my first major. I won 3 majors. The first one is always going to be very exciting. Your first is that way. I messed up the 72nd hole, so it left something wanting. So my second major win in 2008 was very satisfying. I won if you set out as a kid how you should win a major, I played great golf. I swung the club great. I was the favourite. I was in the last group. I hit I hit all the good shots on the final day. I hit a spectacular shot in the 71st hole, the 17th hole that day. Probably the best shot in my career. I followed up with a 4-shot lead down the last, so I got to enjoy it and wave at the crowds. But it was very satisfying. The first one was exciting. The second one was satisfying. My third one, I was sick during the week. I was a little bit off. I kept playing great golf and then falling away, great golf falling away. And I just happened to time it right, and I just grabbed it at the right moment. And I can tell you what, the ones that you're not meant to have, they're the most fun. When you grab one that, hang on a second, I just got in at the right time and just took it by the scruff of the neck, won it. That really is, I will put that one down as the most fun. I'd be a pretty dedicated person, hard-working. Sometimes to my detriment, I would definitely overwork at times, but that's what got me where I am. And, that's all I know. I've had a very good short game through my career, but ultimately what's made me is my drive, my mentality, my resilience, my ability to get over things. If you see this a lot in sport, and especially in professional golf, I would think nothing of losing a tournament. I put myself out there and lose 9 events to win 1. Whereas some guys get in that position and lose a tournament and they feel so bad about it that they actually subconsciously sabotage themselves going forward. I'm the one, I just give myself a chance and I get better under pressure because of that. I don't mind messing up. I don't mind being judged. I couldn't care less being judged by people. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm going to take a chance. If that's what it takes for me to win, I'm going to put myself out there and try and win, because one win overcomes any losses, all the losses. When you get that win, I can tell you what, it's very special to have a big win in golf. I will say this, if you ask me a question about what you should do in life, what you do learn, the wins don't come as often as you think. So when you do win, take time out to enjoy it. Really do celebrate it and enjoy it. Don't be thinking I've got to get out and work the next day. Enjoy your wins. They don't come as often as you would like or you think. Crazy things do happen around golf. I'm sure some funny ones have happened to me, and some guys will tell some nice stories that maybe I'm not going to tell. Seen some funny things. Heard a player was knocked out by another player. He picked up his ball on the green and he was tossing it to his caddy in a temper. So he really gave it a good underarm swing, and he he hit another player in the temple and knocked him out. It happened to Gary Murphy, an Irish golfer, so that's how I know that story. That's probably the craziest thing. So he's walking as the other players flung an underarm to his caddy and hit him in the temple and knocked him out cold. So that's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened on a golf course. Pity they didn't have it on tape. The craziest thing that actually happened to me, and it's TPC Sawgrass, and they had it on TV, but obviously, it was back in 2000, 2001. Maybe I just wasn't a big enough star then or something like that. On the 18th hole, I've hit it in a grass bunker, greenside grass bunker, right at the depression there. And the rough was really heavy in the tournament. So it's in the tournament Friday. The pin is front left. I've gone in and hit my shot, and 3 golf balls have come out. So I've hit 3 golf balls, have all come out. 2 of them went on the green, 1 went about 2 yards. Now what's the odds of that hitting 3 golf balls? No penalty, and I did get my own golf ball on the green. So that just shows how heavy the rough was, that there was 2 golf balls underneath my golf ball. But it just goes to show, when you're playing an outdoor sport, and golf, ridiculously crazy things happen. And I'm sure if we sat here, we could start recalling, madcap things. But that's probably, in terms of golf shots, hitting 3 golf balls in one shot is probably the craziest thing that's happened to me. And the craziest story that you've never heard of is Gary Murphy getting knocked out by another player tossing a golf. But he was a South African player, so he was built, and he lost his temper and just gave it the flick under his arm, and Gary just walked straight into it. So yeah, madcap things do happen when you travel the world. Yeah, I'm not going to go out on a limb here. The best pros are the young pros who are doing well. Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, Matthew Wolff. I'm not really telling you anything there. These are the young guys. The problem, it's very hard. There's very good players who are coming out, really talented players, but it's so deep now they get lost. It's very difficult. If you don't make it quickly, you lose your confidence, you're gone. I've got to say, it's much tougher now than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Big stars are getting lost because they just lose their way, a little bit of confidence, and there's just a fine line between being a successful pro and not being out here. And it actually is probably a little bit tougher. The better a golfer you are when you come out, if you underperform quickly, you lose your confidence. Whereas if you're maybe not the star coming out, you're already quite resilient, you'll be able to stick at it and keep going. So it's tough for the guys who are coming out, who are great swingers, great ball strikers, because on the tour everybody is good, and so you get lost very quickly amongst the masses. But fair play to those 3 lads, Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa have really, and Matthew Wolff have really set it apart. I'm sure others will come like that, but there's a lot getting lost as well. There's very little I could do in my career that's going to change my legacy. I'd have to go win another major. Even winning another major wouldn't change my legacy. 3 to 4, not a big deal. I'd like to go and win more tournaments. I'd like to be the oldest winner of a tournament. That would be nice. Yeah, I'd like to win at my age, sort of thing. And I am competitive, even though I'm 50 years of age this year. I'm still able to hit it with the young guys. I actually see some good form around the corner. I'm starting to putt better. So yeah, look, I'm in a good place going forward. So yeah, those are probably goals, to try and win at my age, to try and win a little older. But there's not much I'm going to change in my legacy. It can be played by everybody, for every age. I know we have an elitist image, and it's thought you need to be rich to play golf, or you need to be old. You actually need to be time rich. That is the one requirement to play golf, and unfortunately that sometimes means money rich, but you need time. So if you came to play golf in Ireland, it's pretty cheap to play golf in Ireland. It's £100 for my kids to join the local golf club. They can get free lessons and play for the year for that. You can find your golf balls, you can get second-hand clubs. It's actually a cheap enough game in Ireland. You need to have time, so you tend to find a lot of people who are on shift work, a lot of taxi drivers, a lot of policemen, a lot of priests, all those sort of people. Anybody who's rich in time can play golf, and I will say you do need to have time, because to go out for 5-6 hours on a Saturday or Sunday when you've worked 60 hours during the week, it's not very easy to turn around to your husband and say, well, I'm heading out to play golf for 6 hours on Saturday, you go mind the kids. If you've both worked 60 hours, that's not going to happen, is it? So people who've got young kids don't tend to be able to have the time to play golf, and that's the one thing we need to work on. We need to shorten the idea of golf. You can play 9 holes, you can play 4 holes, you can play 6 holes. Go have fun with your golf. You don't need to go out there and spend 5-6 hours. You can spend a couple of hours and get the enjoyment and get your kick out of golf, but you do need to be time rich. That's what I'll say. You need to have that time, but we fight against that image. And if you went on tour, there's very few people who are successful in sport who have a silver spoon. It just doesn't happen. They're not going to be resilient or tough enough. Very few. Generally, the people who are successful, they've got to go out there and they've got a little chip on their shoulder and they're trying to prove things. And that's the same in golf. Most of the golfers are just regular Joes who've worked their way up in terms of golf. It's not that elitist. Even though people will think that, but it really is. You need to be time rich to play golf. Look, I believe golf is the greatest game in the world. Just, you go out there, you can play great. For one moment you can hit a golf shot that's better than anybody else in the game. One moment. You may be horrible, but you could have a hole-in-one, you can connect with one, and you can actually hit a shot better than a pro. You know, you can do that at 60 years of age. I work with Bob Patella, who's, in my eyes, the greatest sports psychologist there is. And he was telling me there recently, about 2 years ago, he played with his father, his daughter, and his granddaughter. So he played with 4 generations on the golf course at once. Husbands, wives, sons, daughters can all play golf together. It's the one sport you can compete. It's the one sport, and I know, again, we're always trying to work hard that, you know, it's such a male-dominated sport, but it's the one sport where if you're a good woman golfer, you will pretty much beat all the men. So that's a great incentive. If you're a young, you know, any teenage girl would be able to, in time, would be able to beat their dad or their brothers at golf if they apply themselves. So it's a great sport for you know, to get out there. It's a great equalizer. You can become really good at this. You can be good at 60 years of age. You can play to your 90 years of age plus. It extends your active life by 8 years, I think it is. 8 years, you're going to be, like, you know, the way you can play bridge or something and that will extend your brain and you'll keep you active. But if you play golf physically, you'll get 8 more years out of being active by playing golf. So it's just a great sport. You can play all your life. The fact that you self-rule on the golf course, that you go out there, you play with great, and we play tough. Like, we're tough on the golf course. I'm hard on the golf course, but I play within the spirit, within the rules. And when I'm playing with my friends, I think that's the best part about golf. You could set a good match up with all sorts of standards and level, and, you know, you get the right golf course, you can have the greatest fun with your mates, because let's face it, you can be a star for one moment and then you can go from hero to zero so quick. And you know, you're walking down there, your chest is out, you're great, and the next hole you've made an absolute dog's dinner of it, and you're walking away, tail between your legs, and your mates are laughing at you. What sport can you do that? You know, you can just play. As I said, you don't ever have to give it up. You can keep playing. You know, you can keep moving. You know, if you play, like, I'm fascinated with American sports. Like, literally, when you finish college, you have to stop playing. Seems crazy. You know, with golf, you can keep going forever and keep getting the enjoyment. You'll never master it. 1 or 2 days you think you will, but you'll never master it. You'll always be work in progress. You know, it's a game that's constant work, and just one that, if you play it, I can guarantee you, if you've never played it and you go out there and play it, you'll get that bug. It's obsessive.